Hello, my name is Shannon Gordon. I'll be addressing the impact of discrimination on transgenders in today's society. Policy problem. Transgender in this society has serious health concerns. No federal regulation addressing employment discrimination based on gender identity in the workplace. From school and healthcare to immigration and identification, policies affecting trans people are advancing every day. Simply defined, transgender refers to a person whose gender identity, behavior, or expression does not conform to their sex assigned at birth. Gender is defined as a socially constructed roles, behaviors, activities, and attributes that a given society consider appropriate for men and women. With that said, women are expected to be caregivers in a family, taking on responsibility of the household. Transgender people should be treated with the same dignity and respect as anyone else and be able to live and be respected according to their gender identity. But transgender people often face serious discrimination and mistreatment at work, school, and in their family and communities. For example, transgender people are more likely to be fired or denied a job, face harassment and bullying at school, become homeless or live in extreme poverty, be evicted or denied housing or access to a shelter, be denied access to critical medical care, be incarcerated, or targeted by law, face abuse and violence. In 2016, NCTE released a report of the U.S. Transgender Survey, a second iteration of the National Transgender Discrimination Survey that measures how things are now and how they changed over the past 5 years since the release of the NTDS. With almost 28,000 respondents, the USTS is the largest survey ever devoted to the lives and experience of trans people. Transgender people face discrimination and violence throughout society, from their family growing up, in school, at work, by homeless shelters, by doctors, in emergency rooms, before judges, by landlords, and even police officers. There is a pervasive pattern of discrimination and prejudice against transgender people within society. Both economic discrimination and experiencing violence could be the result of a larger social climate that severely sanctions people for not conforming to society norms concerning gender. As such, both would be strongly associated with each other. Transgender impact on society. There are many transgender victims who have been violently beaten, sexual assaulted, physical assaulted due to hate crimes or gender identity. It is estimated over 134,000 American veterans are transgenders, and over 15,000 trans people are serving in the military today. Support for transgender veterans has improved, but they still face barriers for obtaining updated service records. They do not out them as transgender and from receiving VA coverage of necessary medical procedures. In 2015, advocates tracked at least 21 deaths of transgender people due to fatal violence, the most ever recorded. These victims were killed by acquaintances, partners, and strangers, some of whom have been arrested and charged, while others have yet to be identified. Although some of these cases involve anti transgender bias, some are not bias related, and still others don't have apparent motives. In 2016, advocates tracked at least 23 deaths of transgender people in the United States due to fatal violence, the most ever recorded for that year. These victims were killed by acquaintances, partners, and strangers, and some who have been arrested and charged, while others have yet to be identified. Some of these cases involve clear anti-transgender bias. In others, the victim's transgender status may have put them at risk in other ways, such as forcing them into homelessness. In 2017, Abbott tracked at least 28 deaths of transgender people in the United States due to fatal violence, the most ever recorded. These victims were killed by acquaintances, partners, and strangers, some of whom have been arrested and charged, while others have yet to be identified. Some of these cases involve clear anti-transgender bias. In others, the victim's transgender status may have put them at risk in other ways, such as forcing them into homelessness. Sadly, 2018 has already seen at least 20 transgender people fatally shot or killed by other violent means. As the HRC continues to work toward justice and equality for transgender people, we mourn those who we have lost. The policy targets politicians, Department of Justice, and the public. The Department of Justice issues a new memo of transgender workplaces rights, arguing that a major civil rights law does not cover discrimination on the basis of gender identity. The memo officially withdraws a 2014 memo sent out by then Attorney General Eric Holder on the issue, reversing the position the Obama administration took late in the former president's second term. This is the latest series of moves by the DOJ to undo Obama's error policies on LGBT rights, and one more step toward possibly showdown over gender identity and sexual orientation high in court. So I asked the question: what is the best solution to reduce workplace violence against transgender? Questions. This concludes my presentation.